European Parliament's cross-border group of far-right parties has a new name, Identity and Democracy, or ID. Identity and Democracy, or ID, brings together Eurosceptic and nationalist parties holding 73 seats in the Parliament, putting them in fifth place, just behind the Greens. It merges the Europe of Nations and Freedom group, which includes Salvini's League Party and Marine Le Pen's National Rally, with other parties such as Eurosceptic parties such as Alternative for Germany. Now, unveiling the group this morning, Le Pen said it would carry the voices of nationalists in the European Parliament like never before.
All these forces will converge in order to put forward new political proposals and to color the future debates in a way that has never been seen in the past.
Well, we're joined now by our correspondent Jack Parrock, who's in Brussels. Jack, so this Eurosceptic group has got a new name. Does anything else change about it as well?
Well, not really, apart from its size. It's increasing from what the ENF was of 36 seats up to 73 seats, so it is going to have a little bit more power. They've brought in the AfD, the Alternative for Deutschland party from Germany, boosting their numbers. We've had a very interesting press conference here in the European Parliament today. In fact, after the beginning speeches by the new leader, Marco Zanni, and by Marine Le Pen, there were claps from their delegations, and some journalists were standing up, very unhappy that here in a press room that political speeches were being applauded. They also had some questions to answer on things like Russia, the group saying essentially that they don't believe that the EU's sanctions against Russia should be upheld. That's something that they've been questioned for a lot. The ENF as well was considered very pro-Russian, and it looks like this Identity and Democracy Party is going to continue on in that vein. They say that they're pro-Europe, though, but not pro-EU. They say that they're going to be constructive but not allow power to be taken further away from national capitals. They're bigger, but the policies they're saying are new but ring relatively the same as what we heard from the previous iteration of this Eurosceptic grouping.
Now, the group could have been bigger if it had got the UK's Brexit party on board, but it didn't. Why didn't they join forces?
It's very difficult and has proved very difficult for many years now to try and get Nigel Farage, the sort of chief Brexiteer, who is an MEP here in the European Parliament, to join forces with this Eurosceptic alliance. Reason being, there's a couple of things. In national politics in the UK, still the name of Marine Le Pen and the Le Pen family name, it holds a sort of toxic element that Nigel Farage doesn't want to be connected to much. And also, Nigel Farage wants to be able to speak in the plenary and have his own political grouping without the sort of forces of other Eurosceptics getting in his way, essentially. So that's why they've not managed to. Had they have managed to bring them on board, they would have been a much stronger power here in the European Parliament after May's elections.
And just briefly, Jack, of course, hanging over Le Pen is this court case in France where she tweeted violent images of terrorism. How damaging is that for her?
Indeed, there was sort of a shadow cast over the press conference because of this. Basically, back in 2015, Marine Le Pen replied to a tweet from a journalist who'd compared her political party to the so-called Islamic State group by tweeting violent pictures from Islamic State violence. And she is now facing charges for that, it looks, in a French court, where she could have up to 3 years in prison and a €75,000 fine. So significant that. But really, what she wanted to focus on was the development and the start of this Identity and Democracy group, which will last potentially for the next 5 years here in the Parliament.
Jack Parrock in Brussels, thanks very much.